Education. If money became the tool we use to mask meaninglessness, education became the machine built to train us to chase it. After the ruling class defined wealth as worth, they needed a system to manufacture minds obedient enough to believe it. That system was public education. But American education was never built to awaken the self. It was built to train it into submission, to convince young consciousness that success meant conformity, that curiosity should be graded, and knowledge is memorization, not transformation. And once the definition of success was hijacked by the ruling class, schools became factories not for learning, but for obedience. What we call education in America has always been a pipeline, not a process for self-actualization, but a system of sorting. A way to funnel souls into boxes, train them for labor, and filter out the ones who might dream too big. And if you want to understand why so many adults are disillusioned, depressed, and desperate for direction, look no further than the classrooms that taught them to confuse quietness with intelligence and compliance with worth. The history of American public education is layered, but understanding it helps explain how it became a system more focused on obedience than self-actualization. In early colonial America, the 1600s through 1700s, education was primarily religious. The first schools were designed to teach reading so that people could read the Bible. Massachusetts passed the Old Deluder Satan Act in 1647, which required towns to hire teachers. The belief was that ignorance allowed Satan to creep in, but education was for the few, not the many. Boys from elite families got classical education, while girls were often excluded or taught domestic skill. The purpose? Moral conformity and religious indoctrination. The 1830s and 1850s is considered the birth of the modern public education system. Horace Mann believed that standardized education would create better citizens and reduce class conflict. He advocated for state-sponsored, tax-funded, non-sectarian schools. But while Mann promoted public education as the great equalizer, the real goal was social order. To assimilate poor immigrants and working class children into norms of emerging industrial capitalist societies, education became a way to shape workers, instill patriotism, and maintain class structure. As the U.S. industrialized in the late 1800s and early 1900s, education was restructured to mirror the factory system. Children were grouped by age, taught obedience, punctuality, and rote memorization. Influential thinkers like John Dewey tried to push for more experimental learning, but the dominant model was built to create compliant laborers, not free thinkers. Now, education prepared obedient workers and sorted bodies for capitalism. After slavery, between the 1870s and 1950s, education became a battleground. Black Americans fought for schools, but funding and quality were intentionally unequal. Schools were legally segregated by race until Brown versus Board of Education in 1954. Afterwards, white flight and zoning laws maintained racial inequality. Education became the battleground to reproduce white dominance. After the launch of Sputnik in 1957, the U.S. feared it was falling behind the USSR. This led to federal involvement, a push for STEM, and the rise of standardized testing. Education became a national security issue. We needed to be able to produce engineers who could compete globally and squash any anti-American dissent. Ronald Reagan's administration began the process of defunding public education and pushing charter schools, vouchers, and corporate reform movement. Schools became test factories and teachers were blamed for systemic problems. Under both Democrats and Republicans, education was tied to economic utility, not personal or societal growth. Now education exists to serve market interests like everything else and manage public unrest. The greatest lie of education is that it is for the child. It has never been. Education in America has been designed not to liberate has never been designed to liberate, to awaken, or to empower. It was created to condition, to contain, to prepare young minds not for their own futures, but for the comfort and convenience of adults who benefited from their obedience. And that's the fundamental flaw of our entire system. We do not treat children as conscious beings. We do not see them as fully human. From the beginning, American education was forged in the image of the ruling class, designed to produce compliant workers for industrial machines, not thinkers for evolving societies. The schoolhouse was a factory. The child, a product, and still today, even after the machines have changed, the model remains the same. We place children in rows. We measure them by test scores. We stuff them with information that they will never use. We ask them to sit in a world that is moving faster than ever, and we wonder why they are restless, why they are violent, why they are depressed. We treat children as problems to be managed, not people to be understood.